All right, welcome back everyone. Today, I'm going to teach you the exercise I hate more than any other exercise. My fear of push-ups is well seated, and it comes from something that looks a little like this.
What the hell is that, Smith? I just want 20 good push-ups. You can move on to the next evolution. Are you telling me after 2 hours you can't do one good push-up? Just go home.
Ugh. Makes my arms hurt just thinking about it. So, if I hate push-ups so much, why am I going to teach push-ups? Because I see crap like this all the time. I don't even know what people are expecting to accomplish with push-ups that look like that. You're not doing anything but just smashing out reps, which is not always a good thing. Now, before we get into push-up instruction, understand that push-ups are actually a pretty upper body intensive exercise. It's about the same as benching 70% of your body weight. So if you have a hard time with this, don't get down on yourself. Doing it properly is really challenging. I've had a lot of ladies ask me how to do push-ups. And ladies are completely capable of doing push-ups. Everybody is capable of doing push-ups. But women tend to have less upper body, lean body mass, less muscle than men. So it tends to take them a little bit longer to get a good push-up. But there are some simple things you can do to accelerate that. I see a lot of guys that have a lot of problems with push-ups too. So it is not a specific women's problem. So don't get discouraged. Just remember these points and slowly build up to a good quality push-up. The first thing to make note of is that if you can't maintain a proper push-up position, which is just a plank, for at least a minute, you are not ready to do standard push-ups. You need to take some steps back and build up to it. Why is the plank position so important? If you're doing multiple reps of push-ups, then you're going to be in that position for 45 to 60 seconds on an average set. If you're doing high rep push-ups, you could be there for quite a long time. In the military, part of my annual fitness test was 1 minute of push-ups. For the special programs that I applied for, it was as many push-ups as you could do in 2 minutes. 2 minutes of push-ups, not a lot of fun. So a few things to remember in the plank position. There should be a direct line from your shoulder to your hands. So from your shoulder down to your wrist bone should be in a line. You shouldn't have a droopy butt or a butt that's sticking way up in the air. It should be hips to shoulders in a line with a nice natural curve in your lower back. To make things a little bit easier and hold everything together better, tighten your abs and squeeze your butt cheeks together. That'll help you maintain the position. If you have a good solid core, you may burn out in your shoulders first. A lot of us have fairly weak shoulders when it comes to stabilization because we don't do a lot that requires much shoulder stabilization anymore. So start slow and build up to a good solid plank. Next point, don't try and start with a full regular standard push-up. Start with an easy version of the exercise. The easiest way to simplify a push-up is to use some sort of platform so that you're not completely parallel to the ground. So the more you raise your chest up from the ground, the easier the exercise is going to be. So when you can do 8 to 12 reps at your elevated position, find a new platform that's a little bit lower and closer to parallel to the ground and work up to 8 to 12 reps there. And slowly lower the platform until you're doing a full push-up. You can do push-ups on your knees, but I don't like that as much because it doesn't require as much core stabilization. And when you see people start to have issues with push-ups, that's usually what goes first. Their hips start to drop. And then you end up with some weird, funky looking push-ups. And it puts a lot of pressure on your lower back. So focus on doing the correct exercise at the easiest version and slowly scale up the exercise as you get stronger. You also need to think about keeping your shoulders safe. The key point to remember is to rotate your hands out while you're doing the push-ups. Now, I'm not saying set your hands up in some crazy position with your fingers pointing away from you. I'm saying put your hands on the ground, get into position, and think about rotating your hands out towards your sides. This will rotate your elbows so they point down towards your feet. If you don't do this, what happens is you end up bucking your elbows out and you put a lot of extra stress on your shoulders. By rotating your hands out, it's going to set your shoulders in socket and keep everything safe. Everything will be stabilized properly. Even if you're going for really wide push-ups, you still want to do this. Even if you're doing diamond push-ups, you still want to do this. It keeps your shoulders in a natural position. And while yes, you can do it with flared out elbows, doing it like that regularly will eventually lead to shoulder problems. And last, I touched on this a little bit earlier, but don't focus on blasting out push-up reps. Every boot camp class you see out there, you just see people grinding out push-ups. They look like crap. They're not doing anything but making themselves sweat. They're building poor motor patterns, and they're really not getting stronger in the right ways because they're doing crap exercises. Focus on doing it the proper way, and you'll build strength and balance. I can take anybody out there and work them until they throw up. That doesn't mean that they are going to improve. It just means that I made them throw up and they're hot and sweaty. A lot of people feel like that means they got a good workout. I guess technically you could say they do. Their heart rate was up and they stressed their body, but they didn't stress their body for a purpose. I think push-ups are probably the most abused exercise there is, short of maybe running. If you like those boot camp style classes, that's cool, man. That's your thing. Go out and do it. But if your goal is to get stronger and improve your motor patterns, don't do your push-ups that way. When you feel your form start to break down, that is when it's time to start thinking about ending your set. If you want to push a couple reps out where you're challenged and you're not feeling any, especially in your lower back, pinching, or elbows starting to buck out and lots of pressure on your shoulder, then that's fine. It's okay to challenge yourself, but don't be ridiculous about it. When your form starts to break down, your risk of injury is highest. Remember, we're training, not competing. So in your training, exercise good common sense and continue to improve. Okay, so there's your primer on learning push-ups. I know it's a really common exercise that people see all the time and everybody feels like you should just jump out and be able to do a push-up. But if you want to do it right, take your time, learn the technique, and build your strength over time. If you like the video, blast that thumbs up for me. If you know somebody who's working on push-ups and needs a hand, send them this video. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. And until next time, keep your life in motion.